Good morning, traders. I am Emily Vani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Monday, August 5th. We begin the first full week of August this morning as markets continue their sell-off after tumbling on Friday, locking in losses for the week. The Dow slipped 610 points, or more than 1.5%. The S&P 500 lost 100 points, or 1.8%. The Nasdaq sank 417 points, or 2.43%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're down 3.5%, 3.50%. That's huge. It's a big drop. It's really an aggressive move lower, and it really started. U.S. was down 1.5%, 2% on Friday. Well, Japan came in there and they lost 12%. That really set the stage for today, where the market drops 12% in a single day. So, you immediately start looking at the last time we had such a big, huge meltdown. And, the first thing that pops in my mind is 1987, and in 87, it was different because I remember my quote system there. By the end of the day, the market quotes were 3.5 hours behind the market. I mean, they were that delayed. And, the guys on the option floors, they couldn't make markets because they didn't know where the stock prices was at. Nobody knew where the stock prices were at because the quote dissemination was so delayed. So that caused further selling pressure. And, that's not going to happen today. But the issue here that I see is that, we don't have any near-term catalysts really to pull us out of this morning sell-off. The economic calendar is pretty light. The only thing I'm going to say is, listen, healthcare, consumer staples, they typically perform better than the overall market because, those are things that people need. Their revenues are going to be a lot more stable. So, those are where some opportunities are going to be today. Is the market overreacting? It's a technical move. I mean, today, it is overreacting, but that doesn't mean we can't go lower. I mean, the algo systems haven't even kicked in yet. So you got to remember, the circuit breakers start at 7%. If a 7% drop hits before 3:25 p.m., and, being down 3.5%, we could drop, 7% and cause a circuit breaker to hit. Now, the circuit breaker will only stop trading for 15 minutes. It's not really this huge event that's going to cause markets to really, turn around or anything. But that's what we're seeing. A lot of negativity. There's a lot of red on the screen. The only other thing going on really today is, President Biden is set to unveil his plan to overhaul the Supreme Court. He's really doing this because of the recent decision giving former presidents immunity for crimes they allegedly committed while in office. And, Biden doesn't play by those rules. He's very anti that. So I'm not surprised that he's going to try and make a move, especially because, he's got nothing to lose. He's got 6 months left and he's going to do what he can to kind of, make sure he leaves the chair in the best seat possible. So we'll have to wait and see. Let's take a look and see what's happening overseas. We got we got to start off with the DAX in Germany. The DAX is down 3.34%. Where's the weakness? Autos and banks. Very much expected. London, the FTSE, down 234 points or 2.87%. What's fallen? Energy, mining stocks. France, luxury stocks are falling. Markets down 2.59% or 187 points. Last night in Asia, we saw big losses across the board, starting off with Tokyo, which lost 4,451 points. That's 12.40%. Where was, what's going on there? Well, listen, their currency is really weak. The BOJ is, going to start raising interest rates because, they have to support that currency. And that weak currency really has been giving a boom to that market for the past year. So not surprised, they're going to have to do some more work there. Hong Kong, the Hang Seng fell 247 points. That's only 1.46%. Shanghai in China, they lost 44 points or 1.54%. So that's actually kind of a positive because they didn't fall that much. Those markets are weak, but they didn't just get decimated like what happened in Tokyo. China saw weakness in tech. Hong Kong saw weakness in energy. So, you move over to oil prices. You see what oil prices are doing this morning. They're down, they're down hard. They were down 1.5%. Now they're looking to be closing in on 2%. You get WTI at $71.96 a barrel. That's down 2.12%. You got Brent at the $75.40, down 1.84%. A weakening economy means lower demand. Lower demand means lower oil prices. But the thing is that the Middle East tensions are being sidelined, and those tensions are pretty high. And we do expect, Iran to do something in terms of the strike against Israel, and that will cause these oil prices to go higher. Not today, it doesn't look like. I think we're still going to see weakness across the board today. So, I'm hopefully that the market doesn't fall too hard and that some buy programs will kick in. But right now we're having a very weak opening, and weak openings tend to feed upon themselves, Emily.
And Bill, you're keeping a steady hand today and you're still looking for opportunity. And the way you do that is really staying on top of all of the data and information coming out of the markets and making sure that you don't lose sight of some of these other details to keep your eye on the prize here. You're still following earnings action this morning, economic events, and of course, other market moving headlines. And we're going to still dig through the details here throughout the show, starting with earnings action. Bill, give us a rundown of what's going on there.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's take a look at what's come out. Tyson Foods, ticker TSN, Tom, Sam, Nancy. I mean, they actually beat by 22 cents, and they did it on higher revenue. And the stock is trading higher. It's up 0.85%. So you got to appreciate that. Treehouse Foods, THS, they missed by 16 cents on weaker sales. If you look at that stock, and it's down 0.33%. Not horrible, but okay. And then, you kind of look at what's coming up. I mean, this afternoon after the bell, you got Palantir, that's ticker PLTR coming out there. EPS is 8 cents. Expected move is 13.7 cents. And then, you look into tomorrow. Tomorrow's kind of an interesting day because you do have Caterpillar coming out with earnings, ticker CAT, Charlie Apple Tom. Their EPS is $5.53. Expected move is 6.31%. You also have Uber, ticker UBER, releasing tomorrow morning. Their EPS is 31 cents. Expected move is 8.80%. Planet Fitness, PLNT, they're coming out tomorrow morning. EPS 66 cents. Expected move is 9.88%. Put volume is, kind of heavy on Friday there. Let's see what else. Hyatt Hotels, ticker H, they're coming out tomorrow morning. Their EPS is $1.29. Expected move is 6.92%. Jacob Solutions, EPS $1.95, expected move 6.01%. Open interest is very heavily on the call side with Jacobs, which is positive. But yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of good earnings upcoming this week, Emily.
Bill, you're keeping track of all of that. You're also looking at economic events, and you follow economic data and information day in and day out. And as there's this negative sentiment around what the Fed is doing, how the economy is doing, it's important to keep track of this every day. And that's exactly what you do. So, Bill, what is going on in terms of the day's economic events?
Well, at 10 a.m. this morning, we get the services PMI. That's the final for July. That's really the only key economic reports coming out today. At 5 p.m., I do see that San Francisco Fed Bank President Mary Daly will be speaking. But, on Friday, we heard from, two Fed Bank presidents, which, I mean, listen, you heard from Chicago Fed Bank President Austin Goolsbee, who said, they don't want to react to 1 month's numbers. Policy is restricted and tight. He noted that inflation has come down and that the labor markets has cooled in the year that the Fed has kept policy rates steady, suggesting that he remains supportive of easing. That's, and he's a big dove, but Richmond Fed Bank president, came out and he was, talking about, how there's going to be a lot of data between now and September. 2 whole rounds of job cuts, 2 whole rounds of inflation readings, and his policy remains unchanged. So a little concerned there. But you want to talk about the Fed being behind the curve? They've always been behind the curve. They're data dependent. They say that. So they're never going to be ahead of the curve as long as they're data dependent. They're not a forecasting. They're not really into forecasting. They're into, reading the data. So not a lot of good on the economic front today, this morning, Emily.
Bill, instead of being behind the curve, you're ahead of the curve, at least when it comes to market moving news, because you're also following things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, and other catalysts this morning, as you do every morning. You're looking at your stocks grouped together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks, all using NewsWare, breaking it down into these alerts so you are ahead of the curve. So, Bill, what else do you see as possibly moving the markets today?
Well, let's first do a quick data check in the markets. What do we see here? I got 3 Dow stocks higher, the rest are lower. My FANG stocks are all lower. It took me that long to count to 3. And you look at some of the news behind it, you're not seeing a whole lot of news. I mean, Meta's in talks to use celebrity voices for their AI. Okay, inconsequential. Tesla, a judge is questioning Tesla's case for restoring Musk's pay package. I mean, Tesla's, under 200. It's at 188.30. So, it's down 9.3%. So you're not seeing a lot of, news flow because it's all talking about what's happening with the markets. You're looking at your Dow stocks and, Apple is off, 8.5% this morning. It's kind of a reaction to Berkshire Hathaway cutting its stake in half. I mean, that's never good. Walmart, ticker WMT, there's a Morgan Stanley survey out there saying Walmart Plus membership are at their highest level since 2020. That's relatively positive. You talking merger news, Kelnova, ticker K. K is in kilo. Stocks are on the rise this morning because there's takeover chatter about Mars, the candy company, buying out Kelnova, ticker K. In terms of guidance, Freshpet, ticker FRPT, Frank, Richard, Paul, Tom, they raised their 2024 revenue view to at least 965 million. It was at least 950 million, so that's an uptick. I mean, that really is. In terms of shareholders meeting, Progressive Software, PGR, they're going to be having an investor relations event tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. And Fastenal, ticker FAST, they're going to be releasing their July sales figures tomorrow morning. In terms of buyback news, YOU, ticker YOU, Yellow, Oscar, Uncle, Clear Secure, they announced a 4 million block share repurchase, an agreement that was done with Delta, ticker DLT. I see Citibank, in terms of catalyst calls, I see Citibank removed its catalyst call on NVIDIA, ticker NVDA. You look at NVIDIA this morning, that stock's getting hit. It's down 14% to 91.80. I mean, woo, that's cheap. And that's really all that I have for you in terms of stocks hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, a tricky day to be making a pick, but what is your pick of the day today?
Hey, I want to stay in healthcare, and I'm going to go with Kenvue, ticker KVUE, Kilo Victor Uncle Edward. I mean, earnings are out tomorrow morning. EPS is 28 cents. Expected move is 6.75%. You look at Friday's call volume, 49,728 to puts of 10,121. I mean, that's more than 4 to 1. And then you look at the open interest on the call side, 167,115 versus 81,569. I mean, yeah, that's positive. And, the major brokers are, I'd say leaning positive on the stock. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. And, I am seeing some, strong ratings on the stock. But, the key is to get in at a good price. And, I'm really thinking like, $18.20. I do think the stock's trading higher this morning. That's what bothers me. The stock's trading higher. So I'm saying 18.20, but I guess I got to say 18.20 to 18.50. But I do think we're going to see a little weakness in the stock sometime throughout the day today. But, it should kind of be able to kind of create some bullish momentum, especially into earnings. And the data going into earnings looks good. So I like Kenvue, ticker KVUE, Kilo Victor, Uncle Edward this morning, Emily.
Bill, sticking in the healthcare sector today, we will follow that along with you. And coming up, we will do a recap on Friday's pick of the day, so stick with us. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Okay, what do we see here this morning? Genpact ticker G, Genpact Advantage Solutions partner in finance and supply solution. Okay. Headlines saying Broadcom and SMCI stocks tumble amid market decline. Philips PHG, there's doing a share repurchase up to 125 million euro. FDA is set to decide this month on ecstasy drug therapies for PTSD. CrowdStrike to Delta. Stop pointing the finger at us. We aren't to blame. Microsoft confirms Xbox game Avowed is going to be delayed to February 18th. And, JP Morgan's got an issue with the litigation in the Zelly probe. Estimates reasonable losses of up to 1.7 billion in a regulatory filing. JD.com founder Richard Liu is said to be still running the firm despite stepping down as CEO in 2022. He's the founder, probably owns the majority of the shares, and so they still need to, get his okay when they're making major moves. Commerce Department is expected to propose barring Chinese software in autonomous and connected vehicles in the coming week. Eli Lilly's weight loss drug, Zepbound, gains ground in the U.S. against Novo Nordisk's Wegovy. There's going to be a Senate hearing next month on these weight loss drugs in September. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we sign off, let's do that check-in on Friday's pick of the day, which was Hims and Hers Health, ticker HIMS. Their earnings are due out today. I haven't seen them hit the tape yet. Bill, you were looking at this one Friday, but of course we all remember it was a rough day in the markets, kind of an ugly day, lots of red. How did your call work out?
Well, Hims earnings are actually due out this afternoon, not this morning. They're due out in the afternoon. So we were, yes, Friday morning was ugly, and we were looking for a play, and we just felt that it would have the volatility in order to make at least a 1% move, and we were right. We got out with a winner. We got out with a gain. Stock opened up 1786, fell down to 1725 before closing out at 1756. I got in at 1740. I ran at 1% on Friday. The fact that it moved 3% during the day was a great opportunity because the market was highly negative, but I did walk away with a gain. So, I was happy with it. I wasn't trying to hit home runs, because, this is an ugly market condition, and, you'd rather just be, very quick and, take your money off the table when you can and stick to sectors that, are typically going to, show quality even in a down market cycle like healthcare. And that's why I was trading Hims, A, because of earnings, and B, because it was healthcare earnings. So Hims actually worked out on Friday, Emily.
Bill, able to make a gain in all that red. That is definitely a win. Sticking with healthcare today, we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Kenvue pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning this week at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Vani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.